Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're over here on the JV side of the game, taking on the Hawkins Forest with the newest legend that has released on Japan, that is Ace and Sabo. And I have to say, this was probably the cleanest run that I've ever done on the Hawkins Forest. This team absolutely clapped. As well as looking at Ace and Sabo, we are going to be taking a look at the new anniversary super type Luffy. I haven't done too much content on the new anniversary legends, obviously because when I got the account and I pulled the legends, I had a lot of work to do. So the characters just weren't where I wanted them to be. But now that we've had a treasure map, I've got some of the brain materials, I've managed to max out most of these characters, and I thought, you know what, I'll take on the Hawkins Forest, one of the hardest pieces of content in the game. Let's see how the newest legend actually performs. And honestly, they blew me away. The amount of damage this character has, the amount of healing this character has, and the amount of utility this character has, it's something else. And I actually cannot wait for this character to come to global with the anniversary legends. Obviously, they are all very, very powerful and all very, very strong. As you can see on stage 12, when we come up against Ryoiin, he gives us 5 turns of special bind, but as long as we are in our Sabo variation, we can actually remove 10 turns of it, and if we have 2 Sabos, we can actually remove 20 turns. So, making our way through this forest when we do have special bind against Kaido, against Ryoiin, and against Kyoshiro, we just need to make sure that we do have our Ace variant out, and if we do manage to do that, we can easily destroy this particular piece of content, as well as utilizing Ace to get around Despair, which is very, very prevalent towards the end, and especially on the final stage against Hawkins himself, when he gives 1 turn of Despair. Once we get to the Holdem stage, this is where things start to get a little bit tricky, and this is where the forest starts to pick up speed. Now, along the way with the forest, you do want to make sure that you are utilizing your switches, so in that way you can actually maximize the super switch mechanic. The new super switch mechanic that came out with Anniversary is very, very powerful, and in Ace and Sabo's case, it actually gives you a full board of orbs and a 2.25 rainbow color affinity boost, which is very, very strong. It cannot be underrated how strong that 2.25 times color affinity boost is. And if you do deck the team out with a couple of dual units, it gives you guys a lot more potential to be able to hit that color affinity against most colors in the game. Against Holdem, once we stall out the first turn, we are going to use our Bonnie special after we use all of our switches. Very important we use Bonnie after all of our switches. That way we can just guarantee ourselves a full board of meat orbs. And if we do actually keep the meat orb that X-Drake locks on stage 5, we can actually utilize that to take this particular stage down and keep most of the meat orbs that we do have on our crew. So then that way when we move into the next stage against Kanjuro and Kinemon, they are going to give us that orb lock. But with the amazing special of Bonnie, we can actually keep a full board of recovery orbs, making this forest a lot easier than it needs to be. Taking this forest down, the easiest way to do it is to sort of deck yourself out with recovery orbs, deck yourself out with rainbow orbs, deck yourself out with wine orbs. As long as it's not a colored orb, that's the way to go when you are taking this forest down. Now, we do actually have to sacrifice an orb on Bonnie so we can start the chain lock. And as you can see there, we absolutely devoured Holdem with Ace and Sabo. On the next stage against Kinemon and Kanjuro, they are going to roll our top and middle row specials back. They do like 5 turns or like 7 turns, something like that for our top row, but they only do like 3 for our middle row. They'll also give our captains paralysis, so that is something else to note. We get 3 turns of paralysis, so we do want to make sure that we take them out together. Otherwise, they do nasty stuff if you actually kill one and not the other. We are just going to take a turn to try and do about half their HP. If you do get them very, very low, they will do some nasty effects too. So be very careful on this particular stage how much damage you actually do. With the switch abilities of Vivi Rebecca, Sabo Koala, and Shank's crew, we can guarantee ourselves a 2.5 times chain lock, a 1.5 times attack boost, and a 1.5 times color affinity boost, which is just absolutely absurd. As you guys will see on this particular stage, we can use our 3 subs to take out Kanjuro, and then literally just with Vivi Rebecca, because she has the color affinity buff, she can easily take out Kinemon, no problems whatsoever. On to the next stage against Kyoshiro. This is where you need to make sure that you have Sabo as one of your captains, so that way you can remove the special bind that he inflicts on the first turn. He puts up 4 turns of defense up, so we are going to have to sort of stall our way through that. Along the way, we are just making sure that we hit perfects with our Bonnie. That way we can actually just get rid of whatever orb she has. Eventually, along the way, we will actually get all color orbs unfavorable from the Jack stage. I think it's coming up next. But Ideally, we just want to sort of get rid of that whatever orb she has, unless you got lucky with the meat orb or something that's not a colored orb, basically. In our case, we did get a red orb, so I'm just going to make sure I keep hitting my perfects to get rid of that. On the third turn, Kyoshiro is going to put up a damage reduction buff, so we do need to make sure that we can remove both of those. So once he does put up the damage reduction buff, we are going to use our Vivi Rebecca special. Vivi Rebecca is going to remove the defensive effects, but before you use Vivi Rebecca special, make sure you switch with your Sabo and Ace, the one that has the super switch mechanic. Very important that you are switching every single turn to just make sure that you are staying close to that 2.25 times color affinity boost. But ideally throughout the run, you want to make sure you have both Ace and Sabo. I can't stress that enough. Having both Ace and Sabo available to you at all times just gives you a lot more utility, as one can remove Despair, one can remove Special Seal. If you know exactly what's coming up on the next stage and you have run this content quite a bit, you can sort of plan it a little bit better. But honestly, I've run this forest hundreds of times and I still forget what comes up next. So I always just make sure that I do have Ace and Sabo out. They both have the same captain multiplier, which is great, 4.25 with a matching orb. And then that way I can just guarantee myself the color affinity. Sorry, not the color affinity, the utility whenever I need it. On this particular stage against Kyoshiro, make sure that you do switch into Shanks. That way you do have that color affinity, and as you can see, just with the hit from Shanks, we can easily take him out, as he is an int unit. On to the next stage now, we come up against Jack. The first time we see Jack, he gives us Despair. So that's why having Ace out is very, very good, because we can remove that Despair easy peasy. And then he gives us Chain Coefficient Reduction, as well as making all colored orbs unfavorable to our crew for 99 plus turns. So this is where this forest gets a little bit tricky, because all colored orbs are unfavorable, and the only way to get around that is to bring someone like Sabo Koala. But for this particular setup, we are abusing the mechanic that Bonnie can provide us with a full board of recovery orbs, which just makes life a lot easier. On the Jack stage, we are going to take a turn here. Just try and put out as much damage as we possibly can with our switch abilities, and then we're going to take him out on the second turn. You need to be careful with Jack too, as on the second turn he will do like a 50% HP cut, and then he does like another HP cut as well. So just be careful how much HP you have after the second turn. But utilizing all of those recovery orbs that Bonnie can provide for us is going to just keep us at a nice chunky HP pool. On the second turn, we're going to use the super switch mechanic of Sabo and Ace, or just the regular switch depending on whatever you have. And then we can use their special to give ourselves a 2.5 times orb boost to our Free Spirit and Shooter units. Then we're going to use our Shanks Crew special to give ourselves a 3.5 times chain lock, so that way we can stay in our VV variation, giving ourselves a little bit more color affinity, and with that we can easily blast Jack out of the water. Once Jack dies, he does have a res mechanic, but he just runs away because we will see him later on in the content, so we're going to say goodbye to Jack for now. On to the next stage, we come up against Law, Sangaro, and Zorojiro. They're going to bind your top, bottom right units and middle right. And this is where I actually sort of thought my run was over, but lo and behold, this team actually just has so much damage output that I still managed to actually like clear it fairly simply. The problem with this particular stage is that bind, and an easy way to get around that is actually to put Valentine's and Army on your Luffy. That way you can actually remove the bind on this particular stage. But I said stuff it, let's just see how much damage we can do. I used my Luffy special to give myself a 2.75 times attack boost, as well as the base stat boost, as we've eaten a lot of meat orbs this run. And as you can see, we absolutely destroy Law. Like, Law doesn't even stand a chance. On the second turn, Zoro is going to bind the other three units, so your top and bottom left and middle right. And on this particular turn, we are just going to take a turn to just stall it out. He is going to give us like 8 turns of that perfect orb seal once again. So whatever orb Bonnie has, she's going to get locked into that orb for about 8 turns. Lucky for me, I actually got a T&D orb, which is just a neutral orb. So I just said, screw it, I'll take that. On the third turn, we are going to make sure that we can take out both Sober Mask and Zoro. Otherwise, we're going to be stuck here for a little while. And ideally, the best place to stall on this particular forest is against Jack on the next stage. But if you want to, you can actually hang around here. Stall on Zoro for as long as you need to get all your specials back. But we are just going to pop our Ace Sabo special, our other Ace Sabo special. That way we can actually just easily take out Sober Mask and take out Zoro. No issues whatsoever. while also keeping our HP nice and high by eating a bunch of meat orbs. On to the next stage against Jack. He has 4 turns of damage reduction, 4 turns of threshold, and he gives us 3 turns of attack down. Now all of that stuff goes down to 3 turns after the preemptive, but it means that we're actually going to have to hang around here for a little while. On the second turn, Jack's actually going to blow away our friend captain, and then he'll do that again on the 4th turn. He does turn into a dex unit, and then after our captain just come back, he just starts attacking every 2 turns. After that, he just does like 14k damage, but because we have a whole bunch of meat orbs, we can just hang around here for as long as we need, keep healing up our HP, and then take out Jack when we need to once we get all our specials back. On to the second last stage, we come up against the big dog Kaido. Now against Kaido, things can get a little bit tricky as he actually gives you 5 turns of like a crazy 25k burn, as well as reducing our recovery. He also rolls back quick unit special by 2 turns here. So just be careful what characters you have out, but it really doesn't matter too much because we have a lot of HP coming into this particular stage, as we did stock up on the Jack stage, the previous one. And on this stage against Kaido, we actually have a lot of color affinity too. So with the switch abilities of Vivi Rebecca, Sabo and Ace, and Shanks' crew, we can give ourselves color affinity, attack boost, and a chain lock. And as you can see, literally without specials, like, we almost kill Kaido. Like, we actually almost kill him. Now, the thing that I wanted to make sure that I was before I killed Kaido was I needed to make sure that I had Sabo as one of my captains, as well as making sure that I have all of my specials back, as Kaido does roll back quick specials. So make sure that you do have a Sabo variation before you take out Kaido, because he does have a res mechanic that when he comes back, he actually gives you 5 turns of special seal. So very important that you do have a Sabo as one of your captains, whether it's yours or your friends. That way we can just utilize that utility and actually remove the special blind without having to worry about it. See you later, special blind. On the revive, we are going to switch into our crew, so that way we have the quick variation of Shanks' crew. We can use our Shanks' crew special to get a 3 turns of a 3.5 times chain lock, and then we can switch for color affinity with Sabo and Ace. Now, ideally on this particular stage, you want to make sure that you move into the final stage as Sabo. If you move into the final stage as Sabo, Hawkins will actually turn into the opposite color to your captain, and because Sabo is a dex unit, Hawkins is actually going to turn into a strength unit. Because he turns into a strength unit, we can actually abuse that, and we can switch our characters into our quick variations, namely being Sabo and Ace. But we also have Shanks' crew, who is a quick unit, and we also have Luffy as a quick unit too. You do want to make sure that your friend captain is already Ace though, namely because we actually get despair on this particular stage. So we want to be able to remove that with our amazing captain ability. So once we remove the despair, we can switch into our quick units. We're going to do so much damage, honestly. You don't even really need to switch into your quick units. Just switch so you get the super switch. That is the most important thing. Then we can use our Ace Sabo special. We can use Bonnie to remove the defense up that Hawkins puts on himself. We can use our Luffy special to give us a 2.75 times attack boost to our crew. Well, to our free spirits, fighters, and quick units. Well, he's also going to give himself a base stat boost, and he's going to have his last tap mechanic. Finally, we have the 2.5 times orb boost with Sabo and Ace, and with their super switch mechanic, we also have their 2.25 times color affinity. That is a rainbow color affinity to our entire crew. Now, I really wanted to get the last tap of Luffy popping off here, but this team just did way too much damage, and unfortunately for me, even just by hitting greats, Hawkins just melted. So unfortunately we didn't get a chance to see that last tap mechanic from Luffy and see all that extra damage that he can output. But just know that even if this, if you like go badly with this particular run and using this team, and you do stuff up your taps and you manage to get that Luffy hit last, you are going to do a hell of a lot of damage, and Hawkins is just not going to even stand a chance. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to go down there and belt the like button for me. And if you are new to my channel and you're enjoying the JP content, make sure to belt the like button and hit the big red subscribe button too. But guys, wherever you are in this beautiful world, make sure to enjoy the rest of your day. As always, guys, I thank you for watching, and I'll catch you all in the next one. Lights!